everyone. Thank you for clicking on this video. It is I and TT again. She got her hair cut and she looks like a chihuahua now. But every time I record, she likes to get in the way. But today I wanted to talk about not humility. Humility is going to be scattered in there a little bit, but it's more about failure and forgiveness. And this is a doozy because not only did I experience just some eye-opening things this past weekend that I really wanted to just share, but just an overall view, and then just, coincidences and things coming up. And when sometimes the message doesn't come in the form that you think, it'll just be in conversation or something happening, and it's, oh my goodness, stop it. It comes and it's like, oh, I was meant to experience this because this is a new perspective, and it's okay. It's expanding you, it's not always comfortable, but it's so necessary. It's so necessary. And so, just with things, coincidences and things, actually there are no coincidences, but just seeing the beauty of everything unfolding for what's meant for you to be, what's meant for you in the form of a message, a lesson, a blessing, whatever. So it started out, first of all, with coming out of being a victim, and then also to really realizing my own growth, my own personality, my own communication style, my own how I show up in the world. And sometimes I can be at fault. I'm not above that. Sometimes I can be, misunderstood. I can offend someone. I can hurt someone. But it was for the longest time, it was like this flipped mirror of oh, they did this to me, he did that to me, and all these things are happening to me, and so I'm never at fault. It's always someone else, and I'm just taking these blows kind of thing. But the forgiveness comes in where what I learned is that forgiveness really is about the other person, or it's about you. So you may not ever get an apology. You may not even have the opportunity to apologize. But if your heart is in the right place and you forgive yourself for making the wrong, for doing the wrong, or if you can forgive yourself from positioning yourself in that situation, allowing that to happen to you, you can melt that burden. I forgave myself for making the wrong choices in partners. I forgave myself for losing myself in relationships or at a certain season in my life. I forgave myself for not putting myself first. I forgave myself for not keeping sight of my goals and dreams and ambitions. Whether someone else or that boss or that manager or whatever it was, a family member or an ex or a friend, whether they ever came and apologized and admitted their faults and what they did to me or not, it set me free. It allowed me to move on and take control back. And when I found my place in the position of needing to be forgiven, I told myself if I had the opportunity, I would do everything I could to restore and renew and be humble and communicate and say, wow, I can be wrong. I am wrong. I wasn't listening. I wasn't, whatever. But then while I waited for their forgiveness, I then too had to turn around and say, they might not ever forgive me, and that's okay. That is well within their right. I have to then not base my salvation or feeling better on that. They don't owe me an explanation. They don't owe me a time frame. They don't owe me, yes, I forgive you. We can move past this. That's for them. But what's for me is recognizing, owning up, admitting, talking to myself, how can I fix this? How can I, with myself, the behavior, the habit, the action, the words, whatever it is. How can I not do that again? How can I fix that? Do I do that with my children? Do I do that with, other friends and family that maybe I don't even see something about myself that is offensive, that is hurtful, that does seem like I am this way, and that is not what I want to portray? Where else can I grow in my life? So I had to forgive myself. I had to be thankful for things coming to the light. I had to be thankful and own up to this is where we're at. This is where I am. And though this can change the trajectory of my life, is the right word? the direction of my life, I'm not going to let that hold me down. I'm not going to let the forgiveness not coming the way I want it to come in a nice pretty bow and words and hugs and all these things and like, we're all good now, to like, okay, but my life is still going on. I would love to know that, you come around, but if not, I have forgiven myself. I'm not going to hold that burden. I am sorry. I do want to change. I do want to do better. So in forgiving myself, I free myself from that. And each day moving forward, I can say, how can I be better? How can I do better? What can I improve? And life goes on. Life goes on. And life is also, the beauty of it is you'll get another opportunity either with all parties involved or with someone else to say, hey, I recognize this. I can catch this. I can do this. This is where I had a weakness. This is where I was at fault. And now I can move differently. And now I can explain to my children, adults are going to have things, or maybe I've done things to you and maybe you might do this to me, but how does that make someone feel? How can we do this better? How can we treat each other better? Blah, 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 blah. Humility is a big one, because I think a lot of times, again, going back to the victim mentality and the martyr mentality, it almost like doesn't make us take responsibility to where we were, at a point where it might have been uncomfortable, it wasn't pleasant, blah, 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 but everybody's not at fault. You are too at fault for not changing when you sooner, or accepting certain things when you knew that the time frame was up, the red flags and other things. Okay, you stop it. Stop. So the humility comes in where you really have to like look in the mirror and say, sometimes you ain't all that. Most of the time. But in this instance, you're effed up. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. We're not gonna stay there. And I was talking to my uncle, and we're talking about failure, and we were using all these different examples of different individuals that we knew, and sharing our own stories and things like that. And he really, I kept saying, even if you fail, it's okay. And he was like, there are no failures. And I was like, what? I'm thinking, yeah, there are failures, but they don't define you. They don't stop you. And he was like, failure is when you stop trying altogether, when you stop moving forward, when you stop everything. It's kind of like, A for effort. A for effort. You need to be applauded for showing up. You are applauded for trying. Because through failure, you are honing in on where you don't need to be, what's not best for you. It's like, learn the lesson, see the thing, identify it, and go this way. And I talk a lot about redirection and like, visualization and things like that. I love those examples, but I was like, I've never thought about that. But at the same time, I kind of knew it, but wasn't able to put it in that context, because I had talked to Autumn, who was 9. That's my oldest daughter. And, school, tests and things like that. And she's like, I didn't do good on this test, or this is really hard, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, as your mother, you need to be concerned when I'm concerned. What I'm proud of you for is showing up, going to school, sitting down at your desk, trying, because I know you tried your best. It's like that reverse psychology. I know you did your best. I know you looked at each problem and tried to figure out what's the answer, especially pertaining to math. And when the time was up, you had to stop and put your pencil down, and you go on to the next subject. You're not there because you know what to do. You're there to learn. So I'm not tripping about a test that you didn't get them all right. You'll recognize the ones that you didn't get right next time. There's always next time. You got another 10 years of this, of school, education. And if you want to expand your education and get your master's and doctorates and all that, that's on you. But I want you to understand that I'm not caught up on that. I was like, do you understand how a test is just a marker of where you're at? That doesn't stop you from graduating 4th grade. That's not going to stop you from ever understanding the concepts that they're trying to teach you. And so it is in life. I'm so thankful that certain things have come to the light, because here I was in certain categories in my life thinking I had plateaued. And so as I share on YouTube and as I, really continue to dive into self-love and self-care, this is just another aspect of it that it kind of like, huh. Like this is new. This is okay, but it's good. It's all good, and it always works out. It always works out. And oh my god. And keeping, oh, I'm sorry, I threw it into the hamper. She can't find it now. Okay, so this video is gonna be real short because I'm about to go get her toy. But my point is just that forgiving yourself is really the best thing that you can do, no matter what the circumstances, whether someone accepts your apology and forgives you or not, no matter what you're coming out of, no matter where you think you have really, effed yourself over. There really is no such thing. It really is no such thing. And then on top of that, through all of this, in my gut, I felt butterflies. I felt physically sick. I couldn't sleep. And I was just like, I'm not going to let this physical manifestation of all of this anxiety and like hurt that I've caused and all this stuff to still weigh me down. I can't, not for my kids. My kids can feel off my energy. I'll get nothing done. I'll be depressed. I'll be in the bed and I'll just like let this wash over me. It took everything in me to pull myself up out of that. So this past weekend, for example, Sunday, I got up and I was like, I think I'm going to go to the bookstore. I think I'm going to go, get some crystals and get a new book and, do the things that I love and maybe see family. And Sunday was so magical. It was hard, but it was so magical. So many little things happened that were just blessings in disguise. And I just had such a good day. It gave me such peace and like, I just felt so good, even though in my mind, I'm like, the house is on fire. Sometimes you can't act on how you feel when everything around you seems to be falling apart. You can't let that, overshadow you. So you're pushing through, and that builds your resilience and everything like that. You're not in denial. You're not lying to yourself. You're just keeping the energy still, like, because nothing is ever bad. It's just a lesson, an experience, a part of life. And so coming through this weekend and maintaining that, like, no matter what, I'm going to just put my best face and foot forward, especially for my children, again, because I didn't want to scare them. I didn't want to, Anna's very intuitive, and your children, they know when you're not having a good day. They know when you're sad. They can look at you and tell, just like you can look at them and tell. So, I was very honest to her and said, Mommy, I've made a mistake and I've hurt some people and I've done some things that I'm not too proud of. In the moment, I didn't intentionally do it. That's not what I meant, but here we are. So I have to just wait, and I have to just hope that they forgive Mommy. And I was like, does that make sense? And sometimes when I think about it, it makes me a little sad, but guess what? Everything always works out, and life goes on, okay? And you still have me, and I still have you, right? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, does that make sense? Do you understand? And she's like, yeah. So I was like, so we're going to have a great day. And, blah, 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 blah. And, so many little magical things, like I said, happened again that I couldn't even have dreamed of them happening. I ran into my parents, and we live like an hour apart. And I hadn't talked to them. I didn't know what their plans were. I thought they were going to be out of town. So I parked, and I'm walking down this downtown little strip, and I'm like way off in the distance, I see this figure, and I'm like, that looks like my father. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my dad. What is he doing here? And they were going to the same exact bookstore that I was going into. And then the gift shop owner, he blessed me with this little crystal stand that I didn't have a problem paying for, but he was like, no, it's a gift, take it. And it's not so much about a dollar amount as it is just someone's kindness and thinking of you and blessing you in that way, because it's just kindness. And so, and then I saw my brother, and I talked to my sister, and I talked to my good friend, and we were just sharing, and he was just keeping me encouraged. And we got home, and it was just a good, wholesome, happy day. And but I had to be very intentional about that. And so you can too. You can really take your power back. You can, no matter what, decide how you want your experience to be, no matter what is going on around you. Like, it's so sad what's going on and other parts of the world, and here even still in the States. But at the end of the day, you still decide how you get up and feel in the morning. You still decide how you get up and what you do on that day. You still get to get up and decide your worth, your happiness, your peace. You still get to get up and decide what you want to eat, what you want to wear, who you want to be, how you want to show up, you know, and how you want to feel about yourself. And know that, like, even in the mistakes that you make, you are a good person and you mean well and you want to do well and you deserve all that life has to offer you. So I share my story to give you a new perspective about forgiveness, forgiving, being forgiven, and humility, and failure, and things like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next topic, I will talk to you later. Peace. Bye.